Toolbox. This is the podcast where we get to dissect and to navigate the free resources from Bible Lessons International. I'm speaking of the preaching and teaching ministry of Dr. Bob Utley, which for me and for my son and I, we get to do this on a weekly basis. I'm speaking of Josue, which is actually today, he's actually at Vacation Bible School serving one of our local churches here in South Texas. And I'm always privileged to see our kids definitely serving the local church. So grateful to be with you. My name is Vidal. If we haven't met, and I just want to remind you that it was in 1992 when I first sat down at an Old Testament survey class with Dr. Bob back in East Texas Baptist University. That was back in the day. And the Lord allowed me to be a part of the ministry in so many ways, but specifically as a pastor. So when we speak of this podcast, particularly when it comes to utilizing the resources of free Bible commentary, I'm speaking to you as a fellow struggler. I'm speaking to you of someone that is a practitioner serving the local church and just teaching the Bible and preaching the scriptures for decades now. And today specifically, I want to show you a very special resource from the website. We try to show you and to just share with you some of the ways how to get some of these resources. They are available to you. And this one in particular is very personal to me for multiple reasons. One of them has to do precisely in a time and age. This is just my biases and my preconceived idea, but I think I'm right on this one. In a time and age where many of us are open to spiritual conversations, but specifically when it comes to the local church, when we do go to church, we try to get practical insights, practical teaching, practical, just instruction on how to navigate life, what to do, try to find answers to the questions that we have. I think those views are legit and are needed. But the problem is that typically we speak of those things at the beginning, at the front of the conversation, where in reality, the practicality of the Bible, which as a whole is practical, is kind of is a both end of the conversation, is the practicality of the application of the Bible comes at the end of the conversation. So the invitation that we typically give or have presented is that when it comes to the scriptures, we approach the Bible beginning with doctrine. And typically when we speak of doctrine is basically, and again, today is one of those days that we are presenting that one single doctrine that allows us to remind ourselves that our opinion and our interpretation is necessary at the end of the conversation. The application, what it means to me, what I do with it is extremely important. I'm going to argue that without it, it's going to be incomplete, the experience, the purpose of why we are encountering doctrine. Today, we're speaking of the doctrine of Christology, which has to do with the person of Jesus. This is what Jesus said about himself, and this is what Jesus did based on what he said about himself. So this is kind of at the both end of the conversation, the person of Jesus and then the work of Jesus. Who is this Jesus? And tragically, for many of us, we do agree with Jesus, but we agree with the Jesus of our preference, a Jesus of my experience. And again, the Bible is not against experience necessarily, but it's more than an experience. This is about a person. This is about God made flesh. This is God walking among us. This is the work of God. This is the person of God. And the question is, what does that mean? Well, Dr. Bob, a couple of years ago, I don't even know how long ago it was, to be honest. I should probably have asked when that happened. But he did a conference, a Christology, a conference in the person of Jesus on Christology at First Baptist San Antonio. And Lord have mercy. This is such a great conference. I've been going through the conference. I've seen it in the past, but I've been coming to the conferences back again a couple of times. And I'll just tell you one quick thing. Besides just the lot of information and very, very insightful information on the person and the work of Christ. But one of the things that I love for you to do as you walk with me through the website, and if you will take the time to actually watch the videos, watch the conference, is for you to approach this conversation seeing the hermeneutical, biblical interpretation methodology or process on how to interpret the Bible in action. Because when Dr. Bob starts teaching through these 5 videos, it's a 5-part series on Christology. In my opinion, this is one of those sections because, see, the uniqueness of this conferences or sessions is that it's more of a teaching part versus the preaching. He does some of the preaching as it's unavoidable. Preaching and teaching, most of the time, they overlap. But as he walks through the teaching, and he's got more freedom to do that in this conference because of the time. Typically in sermons, as you guys know, are more limited when it comes to time. I think, and the way that I look at the conference is that he allows you to see the hermeneutical, again, the interpretation of the Bible, the methodology in action. And that's all that I'm trying to say. So if you, again, besides the content, because that's obviously what we're looking for, right? We're looking at the content, the message. I want you to see the methodology, the process on how to interpret the Bible, put it into practice. Now, I'm just going to warn you, if you do choose to watch the videos, they potentially are going to feel a little bit overwhelming because he is going to go a little deep into the explanation. And I'm speaking of contextual insights. I'm speaking of the special topics. He's going to go into details, giving you the insights, giving you extended version of some words or some even doctrines within the doctrine. He's going to give you the framework. He's going to speak to you of the historical background. He's going to speak to you of the traditional views that we have over this over this doctrine. And again, potentially it may feel a little overwhelmed. This is why, because it's on video, you get to pause the video, you get to take notes, you get to go back and rewind the video. I mean, it's obviously, it's on you and however you want to use this. But bottom line, we just want you to hopefully find it helpful, challenging. And I'll just repeat some of the words from Dr. Bob. The goal is not agreement. It's not that we do not believe in absolutes. Obviously, we believe in absolutes. But at the same time, the authoritative word of God, which is very clear on the message and specifically in the person of Christ, is an invitation for us to also process, dissect, and avoid the tendency to continue to practice what we have typically called mindless Christianity. We have to know what is it that we believe, and we have to know why we believe it. And I think this is a great exercise. Why? Because most people, if you're like me, when I do engage with the Bible, when I do engage with church or any spiritual conversation, this is my tendency, based on my background, where I am in life, my dreams and desires, I typically want to process or desire to process things through my lenses, through my personal preferences. And when we speak of Christology, when we speak of the person of Jesus and the work of Christ, it's the perfect example for us to just pause for a moment and say, okay, well, this is not what I can get from the conversation. This is about what Jesus said in spite of what I think or where I am. Now, again, I don't think the Bible is against us or where we are. But again, this is a very good exercise to remind us that we begin with doctrine. And there's nothing more practical and more relational than doctrine. And the doctrine of Christology, I think, is a good place to begin the conversation. So if you allow me, let me just share with you a little bit of that website. And I'm speaking of freebiblecommentary.org, freebiblecommentary.org, where you can find the resources, and specifically this one that I'm about to show you, and that we believe that is going to help us to understand this doctrine even better. So let me get my screen, and I'm hoping that this is going to work, where I can show it to you. And this is the website, Free Bible Commentary, and some of you might be familiar with it. Some of you may not be familiar with it, maybe the first time. And if this is the first time, welcome. Thank you for being here. And I just want to show you that within this colorful blocks windows, if I were to move to the left, you're going to see video sermons on the green right here. Video sermons. And that's what I'm looking for. This is a series of series of links on sermon series from Dr. Bob throughout the years in multiple churches where he has served, either as an interim pastor, maybe just a conference speaker, which is the case for this one. And if you were to look in here at First Baptist, let me see, I lost it right here. Christology Bible Conference, FBC, First Baptist Church, San Antonio. Here's the year, 2014. So it's 11 years. Yeah, 11 years ago when he did this conference. When you click on that link and you open up, you're going to see day 1, day 2, day 3, and then day 3 is divided. Well, is day 3 divided into 3 sections, I guess. That was a longer day. But the point is that there are 5 videos. In every one of the videos, what Dr. Bob is going to do, he's going to give us or connected every video or every conference with one of the most Christological passages in the Bible. So if you are taking notes, I'm just going to tell you where he's coming from and where you find the notes over this material. The first one, which is the first or day one, the first conference, is based on John 1st as the prologue. Is one of the most Christological. This is the Gospel of John. So if I may just show you briefly, again, just going back into the website, I will take you to now the New Testament studies. That's where you're going to find the notes, because this is where he's teaching straight from his commentary. You're going to come into the New Testament section, written commentaries, and obviously this is his commentary on John. This is the entire New Testament. I click on John, and then they're divided by chapters, as you guys know. So you got two choices here. And I said choices, but this is my suggestion. Go ahead and click on the intro and just go through the intro. Just get a little kind of an overview, survey, 35,000 overview of the Gospel of John. If you can do that, because then, and by the way, let me come back to this. At the end of every one of those intros, he has a section where he either calls it purposes, or there's another phrase that he uses. But anyways, this is the section where he dissects and he gives you the main truths of the book that you're about to study, which in this case is John. So he's got a letter A, B, C, D, and E. Pay attention, close attention to this section, because I think it's crucial for us to see the big purpose of this. Now, the next section is going to be John 1. This is the actual commentary, and this is what I love for you guys to see. This contextual insights, extremely helpful. The same thing, just pay attention to those things, take the time to read it, meditate over these things, and just ask the Lord to speak to you on however the Lord wants to direct your attention to the insights of this prologue or the intro to this Christological section of the Bible. So again, this is conference number 1 on the five videos that we're looking at. Number 2 is going to be Philippians chapter 2, another Christological. So I'm going to go back to the New Testament section, written commentaries, and I'm going to the book of Philippians. You guys see it here. I'm going to click on it. And in this case, because you know that Philippians belongs to the grouping, to the section of the pastoral or the prison letters. Prison letters. And within the prison letters, you're going to see Colossians, Ephesians, Philemon, and Philippians. So we're looking at Philippians, and we're looking at chapter 2. Again, if you get the time and the chance, which I highly recommended, look at the intro of the book of Philippians right here. But in this case, conference 2 is basically on Philippians chapter 2, verses 13 through 16. That's what he's covering here, going into the details and dissecting this. Video number 3, now he's moving into the book of Colossians, which is another of the prison letters. And this prison letter, we're going to go to chapter number 1 and this time. Look at the intro if you can. Chapter 1, and the same thing. Look at verses 13 through 16, and my apologies. On Philippians, it was chapter 2, verses 6 through 11. That's what I meant to say. It's 6 through 11, the previous video. Philippians chapter 2, verses 6 through 11. In Colossians, is chapter 1, verses 13 through 16. That's video number 3. So I'm going to say it again. Video number 1 is John, the prologue of John 1, the Gospel of John. Video 2 is Philippians chapter 2, verses 6 through 11. And then video 3 is going to be chapter 1, verses 13 through 16. Video 4, which I say video 4, but it's day 3, video 4. That's what it means on the listing. Is going to go into Revelation. Now we're going to the book of Revelation. So let me come back to here. And then written commentaries. And now we're going. Now, in the book of Revelation, if you guys have been connected to the ministry and to the teaching of Dr. Bob, he just finished teaching the book of Revelation, which now he's going into the partial preterist, idealist section. So if you notice, there are 2 different versions of the commentary because of the changes that he's made and the revision. So 1996 is the original, but now we got a 2024. So if you're going to look at that, but here's the point. When you click on it, same thing. Look at the intro if you get a chance. But now we're looking at Revelation chapter 1. And that's the same thing. This is video 4. And this is the entire chapter of chapter 1 of Revelation. The last video is from the book of Hebrews. This is video number 5. And I'm sorry, let me get back to New Testament, open up written commentaries, and now we're going to the book of Hebrews, another of the most Christological references from the Bible. And this is Hebrews chapter 1. Let me find Hebrews. It's right here on this section. And same thing, if you get a chance, look at the intro. And then chapter 1 of Hebrews. And this is going to be verses 1, 2, and 3. And he is going to dissect every one of these videos for us. So let me recap briefly as we look at this from the very beginning. And let me just go back to the very, very beginning so you see where I got the videos from. This is freebiblecommentary.org. Then you come into the green buttons and you see video sermons. This is the collection of multiple series and just standalone sermons. But specifically, you're looking for Christology Bible Conference. Click on it, First Baptist San Antonio, and here are the 5 videos divided between day 1, day 2, and then day 3 divided into session 1, session 2, and session 3. I'm gonna repeat my biblical references so you guys can go for the written commentaries. On video 1 or day 1, you're gonna look at John 1, the prologue, John 1 for video 1. And then for day 2, you're looking at Philippians chapter 2, verses 6 through 11. That's day 2. Then you move into day 3, sessions 1, session 2, and session 3. For session 1 of day 3, you're looking at Colossians chapter 1, verses 13 through 16. Go to the biblical commentaries. Obviously, you got to start with the Bible. So read the Bible. Nothing can replace the reading from the scriptures. And then for video 4 or session 2 within day 3, which is video 4, you're going to look at Revelation chapter 1. And then finally, session 3, day 3, session 3, which is video 5, you're looking at Hebrews chapter 1, verses 1 through 3. We love to hear from you. We want to make sure that this podcast is helpful to you, helpful to your ministry. Every one of those resources are free. And the implication of being free is that obviously someone is paying for it. So we're grateful for those who donate to the ministry and make these resources available to the local church. But one of the things that you can do to help us is to subscribe. Wherever you're getting this podcast from, whatever the venue, the channel, the social media channel, please help us by subscribing. And if your generosity continues to grow, if you feel comfortable sharing the podcast and just let pastors, family members, church leaders about these resources, this is extremely helpful to all of us. We do have an app, the Bible Lessons International app available to you. What you got to do, you got to go to the App Store and just search Bible Lessons International. And that is available to you. It's available to your family. And we would love for you guys to continue to utilize the resources. If you do have a question, love to read the comments on the chat and love to see how the Lord is using this ministry for the edification of his people, for the proclamation of the gospel. Have a wonderful week. May the Lord bless you, and thank you for joining us at your Bible Toolbox. God bless.